guys, it's Ryan and Haley. Today we are talking about incapacitations, power of attorneys, trusts, all these different deals going on because there's such a large amount of fraud going on in the real estate space. It's crazy.
You know, it's very unfortunate, but this is why we have been on the front lines of this. We have had to really dive deep on going into incapacitations and power of attorneys, because not just like fraud on the rise of fraudulent grant deeds or anything, but people are saying when somebody is on the property, when it's a single owner or even a death of affidavit of joint tenants, when they get that death of the other person that comes in, then they state that, there's only one person on title. We can say they're incapacitated, forge 2 doctor's letters, use a power of attorney, and then we get all the proceeds on the property. Super scary stuff. So we have had to be very vigilant right now, more than ever, on really combing through with like a fine-tooth comb, needle pinning everything on power of attorneys. And you know, we have to just bring that up because when we hear it like, oh, well, the person has a power of attorney, it's one of those things where it's a kind of a little bit of a red flag where we just have to really dive deep on who the signer is with the power of attorney.
Well, they're preying on some of the, weakest, most vulnerable people in our society, the people that, are on their last days or incapacitated or entering positions where they don't have the mental faculties to make calls on things like property and, next of kin and all these different, inheritances, right? And they're preying on some of those, and like vultures, right? So what do we do? We build a strategy. An ounce of prevention is worth a pound of cure. So if you're taking a listing, if you're looking at acquiring a property off market, if just get as much of the trust documentation, the copies of the powers of attorney, all the documentation you can, because all title companies across the industry are being way more scrutinizing these documents and being way more careful because of the amount of fraud that we're seeing escalating in terms of trying to basically pull one over on incapacitated sellers.
Well, and we've even had, recently where somebody was like in a trust and they're like, oh, but I'm the power of attorney for the trust. And most trusts, I was on the title desk for years, and 99% of trusts do not allow for power of attorneys to sign because it already has the playbook on who would be the next signer. So why wouldn't a successor trustee or a co-trustee be the power of attorney? It gets a little interesting on that. So that's definitely a red flag when that comes up. So most trusts do not allow for a power of attorney. So if you're taking a listing and it's in a trust and they say, oh, well, we're going to be using a power of attorney, definitely get that information to us as soon as possible so we can go through the trust, make sure it allows for it, and we can really dive deep on the power of attorney, making sure that it's valid.
Well, and this affects so many other areas of the industry because a lot of people honestly go to travel for a month in China or go to the Philippines or just go away, and they do give a family member a power of attorney while they're gone in case something happens. It's more common than you think. So now that the notary is going to be scrutinized, the document itself is going to be scrutinized because the high level fraud that's going on. So there's a lot of spin-off ramifications of this, just giving you that awareness so you can prepare. If you have a listing that falls into one of these categories, get it to Candy's team and us, and we can scrutinize it and give it the stamp of approval far before we're even into escrow, before we're even into marketing the property. We'll know and be able to rest easy that we have all the documentation we need.
Exactly. So to Ryan's point, an ounce of prevention is worth a pound of cure. So anytime you hear that, there's going to be a power of attorney signing or that we're going to need the entire trust, just know we're doing that on your client's behalf, making sure that that incoming buyer does not have any issues that they're going to have come up, and that seller is going to be the one who really gets the proceeds, who it's their real property. Like, it's on behalf of, we have to do our due diligence to make sure that the buyers and sellers are protected in the transaction.
Absolutely. And that is the number one goal, to protect the principals in the transaction. So don't be frustrated, just be prepared and get that stuff to us. We are happy to review all of that with you. If you have anything that even looks like a listing that's going to be in this kind of a category, bring it to our attention as soon as you can. We're happy to walk you through the process.
And we're not trying to be doom and gloom or anything like that. It's just we have to bring awareness to it because these situations have come up. And we just were in a meeting recently where they were talking about how the power of attorney fraud has been on the rise. So that's something super near and dear to us, to make sure that it's important that we let our clients know about it. So if they're dealing with any fraudsters out there, because we want to protect our agents so they're not dealing with any fraudsters.
Yeah, it's nothing worse. I mean, it's bad enough. We have wire fraud. We got all kinds of fraud going on. Now they're going after the sick and the
I see the text even that agents are getting where people are saying, oh, we're looking to purchase a home, click this link, and they want you to click a link so then they get access to your entire phone and database and all that stuff. So it's definitely on the rise. It's unfortunate, but it's something that we kind of have to be on the lookout for. And that's really the most important part of title insurance, is making sure that there's no fraud involved, that the sellers are the sellers, the buyers are the buyers, and that there's no other liens or anything that are going to hit that buyer. So
we have a title floor with over 40 years experience in each unit, tons of eyeballs to overlook these things and make sure that you feel safe and that your customer is protected in this process. So we are happy to serve and here for any questions. Hit us up, please communicate, direct message us. We're happy to answer any questions and take on any transactions.
Awesome, and happy to be a part of your team.
All right,
so
guys.
Thanks, guys.
Until next time, we'll see you. I'm Ryan.
And I'm Haley.
Bye.
Bye.